My name is Bridgette Adu-Wadier, and I'm a first-year student at Northwestern's Medill School of Journalism and a former PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs fellow. I'm joined by journalists Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey of the New York Times, who wrote a best-selling book called She Said about their investigation of Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein that shed light on his crimes and the culture of sexual harassment and abuse in film and mass media. They've just released a new book called Chasing the Truth to help aspiring investigative journalists give voice to the voiceless and expose the truth. Megan, Jodi, welcome to you both, and I'm so excited to be able to talk to you.
Likewise.
We're excited to be with you, Bridgette.
Let's talk about your book. Why write an investigative journalism book specifically for young journalists?
We have encountered something pretty remarkable, which is that there is among young people today in the United States and even beyond, like a real appetite to, get to the bottom of things, to uncover the truth and to hold power to account. And we wanted to basically turn our work and not just the behind the scenes story of our Harvey Weinstein investigation into a manual for those young people out there. Aspiring journalists, yes, but also anybody out there, any young people out there who really want to do work and seek to have an impact.
I wanted to know any advice you have for young people who are also trying to navigate these institutional and structural barriers that keep them from getting information.
For young reporters out there, we show them these really kind of gut-wrenching conversations we had with women who had signed these secret settlements, who were debating whether or not to break them. We were sort of showing how we were working to actually extract information from Harvey Weinstein and his lawyers to confirm that some of these settlements had been paid. And more broadly, we want to show young readers that there are that when you're doing this work, it's amazing to watch how a story can start as one thing small and to turn into something much more systemic. That in doing this reporting, you can basically not just illuminate the bad actions of a single person, but of entire systems that can help silence people and perpetuate wrongdoing.
You both came of age as young journalists back when newsrooms were still very male dominated, and how you spent your careers trying to change that. And you write this book specifically for young people. I wanted to know, Jodi, how you see young people in their generation also striving to change newsrooms and how they are.
I think the question of, what are the stories worth doing? How can all of us have the most impact? Investigative journalists have a lot of freedom of subject matter. You can sort of look into anything. And so the question of what you look into becomes a matter of graver and graver and graver responsibility. And to do that really well, we need, as many different people from as many different backgrounds as possible. And so especially for, any young people who are watching this Zoom, we really want you to feel like, okay, even if you've never seen anyone in this kind of role who you can feel automatic kinship with, even if Megan and I are nothing like you in background, we want you to know that, you're prized and you're desired. And not only we, but a lot of other people want to give you some rope that you can use to climb into this field.
What technologies, what resources would be most useful for young people who are trying to start in investigative journalism?
Anybody out there who has that hunger to discover the truth, that is the first, that's the first primary building block. And you can learn the technology, you can download you can very easily download Signal onto your phone once you're starting to communicate with sources. And you can, I just don't think that technology is, I think that that's really secondary. And I think that young people just need to know that it's really that curiosity that can take them into this, that's really the first step.
What are 3 stories that both of you want to see Generation Z cover
I feel like there is a mental health crisis in this country, especially among young people. And I think that we need more and better reporting on that. And I think that the young people coming up in high school and college, who are in high school and college right now are going to be in a great position to scrutinize what's going on and how it's being addressed, and if there's, adequate interventions. And so to me, that feels like one of the big stories moving forward that I think that this generation is very well positioned to tackle. And I also think that beyond that, and they're related, but this is a generation that will have been, I think that this pandemic has really cracked open our country and our society in an unprecedented way. And it's like sort of shown a light into the inequality in this country, whether it's in the school systems, whether it's in the criminal justice system, whether it's in the health system. And I just think that this generation, having been so immediately impacted by the pandemic, will also be in a really good position to just not forget what we have seen in these last 2 years, and to really make sure that they don't look away from the things that have surfaced and been illuminated in these last 2 years, as they've been, really coming into their own and engaging in the world in an unprecedented way.
The area that I'm really focused on still is the workplace, and especially what's happening to the workplace right now. And, I guess the last thing I'd say is that we want student journalists to do their own work. But, another sort of act of journalism is being a source. And if there are student journalists watching this who believe that there's something that needs to be brought to my attention, Megan's attention, the Times's attention, you can send us a tip. You can Google, the New York Times tips line. You can send it there and direct it to the two of us if you want. But if there is something in a workplace, or if there is something in a school that's disturbing enough where you think like, this is not a case for student journalists, this is something I need to bring to the attention of a professional news organization, we would love to hear from you. We want everyone out there to feel like we're really listening as well as possible.
Thank you for having us, Bridgette.
We really appreciate it. It's fantastic to talk to you, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.